Hello everybody and welcome to this review of Abandoned Ship by indie studio Fireblade Software. It's been long coming. We finally have our hands on the early access version, and to be fair, I couldn't be more happy about it. The game currently as it stands is still in development, of course. The options that you have is you can either go with the story or you can go with the combat campaign, which is focusing purely on ship-to-ship combat by the looks of it. Settings wise, at the moment still not much in there, although I don't think that game actually requires an awful lot. It's the only thing that I've done first thing is the turn down the music because it was loud. Dialogue. I have not heard a single line of dialogue just about yet, but I reckon the setting is there for when they actually start recording the actors. So, without further ado, I'm gonna show you how the story looks like. New game name, My Adventure 1. I'm gonna change that. G-Fudge Gaming 01 tutorials. It is recommended for the anybody who's starting afresh to run through the tutorials. I have done that once already. They are good. They show you and explain everything as you go along. Player generated names. By signing up to the Abandoned Ship newsletter, you can have your name added to the game. That is a very cool feature, that one. World seed. So this proves that we are running a dynamically generated game every time you start a new one, so no two gameplays will be the same, which is very cool as well. And I'm assuming these will have the dialogue on. So what I found so far is that throughout the gameplay on the story mode you will have a lot of those popping up with the story. And we have a crew creation screen, and we're gonna take. We are the severed one. That's very cool. I definitely want a gunner. I would definitely want a marine. And I'm gonna get a navigator. So that's your crew of 3. Plus yourself. You and your new companions search through the labyrinthine passages. Very cool. And we found a ship at anchor. Also cool. Gonna load them all up. Gonna man the ship, cut out the ropes, and off we go. Dozen of furious cultists charge the jetty as you pull away. And here we are. That's the that's how the exploration screen looks like. It is quite cool. The ship is very nippy, as you can tell. If I can recommend anything to the devs, is maybe take down a little bit of that particle up in the front of the ship when you go. That is a big splash it's making. So every single map you're on is contained within boundaries like these, and every one of those gates do appear to have a number of quests to be completed before it actually unlocks. Well, because this one, I'm not sure, we are supposed to run away from this one before the cult gets us, and we're supposed to do that by the southernmost gate. And as we approach it, we have a patrolling cult ship. So here we are at the that is our combat screen, which is quite cool actually. So as usual with similar games, if you press pause, you can actually plan ahead and arrange your crew and assign some actions to them. So for example, I'll get the gunner on the guns, Marine can stay on these guns, Navigator's where he should be, and I'll get my Captain to the what's it called? Can't remember what that gun is called. Well, it's chain links. It's tearing apart the. Oh, there we go. Chain shots. It's tearing apart the enemy's sails, which is quite cool. So now you have the reload buttons, and before these charge up, what I found is that you can left click them, and you can specify where the shots will be fired with the right click. There we go. These will fire continuously as they recharge, and these are only when they're preloaded. Then you can left click them and right click when you want to shoot. They do not auto fire. What else do we have in here? We have the distance at which we want to be, which is quite cool. I'm gonna change it to a bit closer. These are crew status. This is our ship status, its hull, how much water it actually took on. This button saves the position of the ship of the crew on the ship, which means that they will be always starting like that, which is quite handy. If you've misaligned them or moved them about, you can reset it by pressing this button. We have few of the maneuver options, few of the extra options. I'll get into that later, and graphical display of all your sections of the ship and the damage they took. So without further ado, let's do some damage. So these will be firing automatically now, and these I can aim where I want it to go. So as you can see, the sails are getting damaged. As the sails are getting damaged, I'm able to pull in closer, which is very handy. I'm gonna give that one more shot, and I'm gonna reassign my captain to the to this gun, which is the. It's called the grape shot, I believe. And this one, at the closer range, it shows you at which range you can fire it. This one damages the crew, which is also very handy. And we have when the maneuver bar charges up, we have several maneuvers. We can turn the ship around, flee, or we can also ram the other ship, although for this one it's not really necessary because we're gonna be done with them very quickly. Ramming the other ship damages the hull integrity, and they go down very quickly. So it is quite a useful tactic when you can get yourself close enough to them. And here's my cat. There we go. That's the ship. That's the ship sunk. We have suffered a bit of a damage as well. That's a leak. And then it goes. Brilliant. We shall grab what we can and be quick about it. Thank you very much. And we're ready to leave the combat and go back into the exploration. That gives us an option to start moving about the main world map. At the moment, I don't have an awful lot of choice. Later on, it does actually expand. Now we can examine ourselves in the mirror fantastic. I'm not sure if there is more to the character customization, but at the moment it is just gender and it's locked for male for this early access. For skin tones, you can change the name. Severed One seems like a funny name. And confirm. A bit more story to it, and again a bit more story to it, and we're back into action. So we are still escaping the cult. And here we have our first encounter, which is a cult encounter. Ship ahoy! Frantically put it. Cool. Cult ship looms fast over the horizon. Attack! Of course we attack. So we're gonna swing about, try and get ourselves closer. We're gonna prime where the guns are supposed to fire. And you see, because they are pulling away and we're trying to pull in, that doesn't actually change unless we successfully knacker their sails. We won't be coming any closer. So now we've damaged the sails before they manage to repair them, and before they damage our own sails, we are able to get some ground, get closer. That's some proper damage. So that gets us really close now. I reckon one more for good measure. And we can shift the captain to the grape shot. Oh, we can ram them. And we brace for impact. There we go. How cool is that? New crew draws straws. We get the booty reclamation duty. That's it. That's another ship gone. We can leave back to the exploration. So, what the game feels like at the moment and what you can do in it. So it is advertised as combat and exploration game. Well, combat definitely. Exploration wise, it tends to be just a case of swimming around the sections of the map, looking for the encounters, which in turn enable you to unlock the gates to the neighboring areas. What is nice about it is that it looks pretty. It is very nicely done. The events are random. There's quite a few of them. Like for example, this one is just a we found some cash floating about. Similarly, we can get we can find some food, and we can find some other ships in need of help, drowning or fighting. We can find pirates. Well, for the story mode, the cult thing is of course the main thing. So you will see plenty of that, like another one over here. So exploration wise, it does seem to be very story driven. You will be faced with objectives to get to a certain specific point, which is several map sections away. You will fight through multiple random events just to accumulate enough event points to unlock the gates, and as you do so, you will enjoy yourself thoroughly with the combat. The combat gets better and better. You can upgrade your ship, which I'm hoping to show you as well, and as that happens, we are getting more and more powerful, which is of course very cool. Okay, so let's do another one. I haven't worked out how to aim best, which sections of the ship to target first, but I found that as long as you shoot away from the crew, this will force them to actually abandon the posts and leave and try to repair the damage that you have done, which always disrupts everything that they are doing on the ship, much to your benefit. And this section of sails appears to be taking the most damage, so that's worthwhile targeting. Let's give it one more go and shift Captain. This is very early stage of the game as well, so you're not having as many encounters as you will later. Of course, the cult is not only flimsy ships that pose next to no threat, but also the mystical beings, which you will have the displeasure of fighting. They can be very tough, they can be tricky, and let's not even mention the Kraken. The Kraken is the big boy for the first part of the story, and he will give you some grief. Let's ram him.
Brace for impact!
Yes, we're gonna brace for impact. Kaboom. As cool as it looks, it damages your hull a little bit as well, so it's not that great. It will cost you money to fix later. But then again, we're not doing it for free, we are actually earning money. Oh, we dropped to our knees. There we go. That's the one. Do whatever you like, you will not run out or run away from it. That is quite cool. There we go. That's the Kraken. So the key for the first few encounters with the Kraken, you need to flee, because you don't have the necessary skill to actually defeat it. So leaving the navigator intact, so as he can charge up the flee maneuver, we're left with the other 3 members of the team, and for that particular bit of the combat, the Kraken tends to put his tentacles into the ship, so you assign each one of those 3 guys to cut them away. Then he releases it. Yeah. Our maneuver bar is charging. Once that's charged up, you can activate the flee button, which will be charging as well. So at the moment you have to survive 3 attacks, 3 or 4 attacks from the Kraken in a similar manner as we've just done. Which is again a very very cool effect on it. Pause, assign, and chop him away. And we got our maneuver bar charged up, so now we can press the flee button, which will take a little bit to charge as well. So I think one more attack and we will be in the clear. There we go. And we're fleeing. So there we go, we survived our first attack of the Kraken. So I'm gonna explore a little bit more and actually tackle this event. Okay. Should have probably read that, they must have run away. But regardless, that's 4 encounters in total, which in turn unlocked our gates, and we can progress to the next section of the map. Which is here. Port. There's a port. And there's a further to the story. Just gonna click through. Halefron. Halefrons are another nasties that will attack you once in a while. But anyway, here we are in a town, and it splits into weapons and repairs, upgrades and supplies, new ships, which are quite expensive, and starting with weapons and repairs, there are some cool upgrades that you can get, and I recommend getting a mortar, because the mortar actually has quite a punch to it, and it finishes off the enemies rather quickly. You just drag and drop. If you have enough money, it will buy it. You put it in the right slot. Having still some money left, we can repair everything. And while we still have some money, we can upgrade the slots. As you can see, we have 2 out of 3 available cannons, and you can add these just like that. Upgrades and supplies. So there is a wealth of upgrades that you can get as you progress and buy more money and get more money, sorry. So from armor, harpoons, hull spikes, good for ramming other ships, lifeboats, and the actual ship sections as well you can upgrade. Supplies, you only need to worry about the supplies for crossing between the maps. That resource that does not go down unless you start traveling between the sections of the map. Shipwright at the moment is just, let's have a look and see, because they cost quite a bit, but you have a wealth of ships you can upgrade to, which later in the game will be quite cool to have. Oh, look at that. My crew returned and they gave me some money. How about that? How about we get one more? And I'd love another gunner. That would be cool. Or maybe a sailor. Sailor, good all around. Here to get. I should tell you what, I'm gonna take another marine. And it's time to leave. And it's time to fight. So we're gonna assign this marine to this battery. We're gonna get our captain to the mortar. And that should be That should be alright. I'm gonna save that up. Tell the guns where we're shooting. And they have nicely... There's a Halifron. So that's why I needed two Marines. Because these tend to board you. And make a mess. Now return to the stations, please. And mortar. Look at the damage. Mortars are really cool. Bam! Since we repaired our ship, we're gonna brace for impact. It caused more damage to them than to us. And finish off with a mortar. One more shot. There we go. And that's the new addition. We have a occult tracking bar which will fill up until something happens. It will be either a very strong occult ship, or it might be quite a few of those Halifrons, or it might be the Kraken himself that will attack you, and there is actually no running away from it unless you change the map, which is you have to be lucky to actually end up with the occult chasing you and actually you having unlocked all the gates. Well, unless of course you linger on one of the maps and you just explore it for the sake of exploring it and getting all the events done. Once the attack is over, the bar resets. You see it filled up. There's one bar already. It resets back to the to 0, and the counter starts again. You can counter that by completing any events that are occult related, and then it will take one bar off. But other than that, it's just a continuous race against time to open the gate and progress to the next area before that happens. Okay, random event Halifrons, and that's another good thing about having mortar. You can actually counter that event by using the mortar, and in this instance we've actually managed to kill them all with one good shot. Let's see, the bar is almost full. Let's see if we can counter it by sinking this ship. Oh no, it's heading away from me. That didn't help at all. So we're gonna have a encounter in just a few seconds. There we go, it's flashing now. Formidable cult ship. And you can do whatever you want. That ship will catch you. Okay. Let's do the business. Starting off like that didn't take any damage. It's best to damage the Halifron if you can, but normally he's quite quick into the water. Fight him. Once you're fighting the orangey ones, what you have to be careful of is once it dies, it explodes. So just always remember to take the take you guys away from the area that he died in, because they will get the poison gas thingy. Other than that,
Brace!
we brace and we ram and we sink him eventually. Cool. Leave the combat and carry on. And Halifrons again. Take him out one by one. Move away. Fight. Move away. And fight. And move away. Kaboom. There we go. It's always worthwhile as well to actually use the space to pause the game. Simply due to the fact that as you fight the Halifrons, they will damage your crew quite badly, and you might need to send them to the healing spot. Just to make sure that nobody actually dies. As your crew can be incapacitated, and it can actually be killed as well, so that's a very expensive gig if you actually start losing your crew. There he goes again. Also cool feature, if you ram the ship and you forget to brace, some of your crew might actually end up overboard. I'm not gonna ram because we're just about hanging in there. These are quite quiet battles as well. Later on, there's the weather takes effect as well, and actually the ship combat while there's a storm going on is quite cool. Not only you have to fight the ship, but you also have to be mindful of the very high waves for which you have to brace as well. Otherwise, it just washes you off the ship's surface. And there we go. There's another break with some story. And you move on. So now it's telling us we need to get here. So that's how the progression works. So overall, it's a very, very fun little game. I'm enjoying it thoroughly. I'm fairly sure once there's a bit more content added to it, and just to make it more of a polished product, the dialogues and all, it will be even better, and it will definitely prove to be quite a few hours worth spent. So I'll leave you with that. Thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching. And I'm gonna probably do some playthroughs as well. I'm gonna record as I progress the story, because it's once you're in it, it's always that's one of those it's one of those games. It's let's do one more section of a map, just one more, it just keeps you going, which is a good sign for the game. So all the credit goes back to the dev for making it very enjoyable. So thank you very much.